anxiety about the unknown.
I could hear the steps.
He had all
walking up
black
the stairs.
eyes. There was no
All of a sudden,
light
this
in
huge
his eyes.
object with lights was on
And
top
it
of
made
us.
no sound.
The fear. Yes, this happened.
And when I look at the front, I perceive and I see a huge and tall being crossing in front of the car.
Hi, and welcome to Yes, This Happened, the podcast with real testimonials from people that face paranormal events. Today, we have Diego's story. Diego is a young, intelligent man who works in the blockchain industry and has spent years wondering what exactly he saw on the dark road that leads to El Yunque in Puerto Rico. That fateful night that still haunts him to this day.
A night that it wasn't full moon. It was kind of a dark night. And it was me and three more friends, Joel, Jonathan, and Fernando. So we were in Joel's house in the garden, and we were talking about El Yunque. Now, El Yunque is it's a very interesting national tropical forest, and it has had a lot of experiences, and we were very curious. We wanted to see if this is true or not. We wanted to find out and see what we could see. Just find out. We were 21-year-old, and we decided, the four of us, to get into Joe's car. It was a Camaro, white Camaro. 2 doors, of course. And we went to Luquillo. Luquillo is where the Yunque tropical forest is at.
The four friends are having a good time riding in the Camaro at night, listening to music and heading to what they hope will be a fun night, where they will be able to see some of the mysterious lights in the sky that reportedly can be seen in that area, unaware that what they will see will be something more than a distant orb in the sky.
So we get there. It was like, we left at 11, or half before midnight we left. So we got there like at midnight. And of course, the Yunque is closed at that time, but there's a road. I don't remember the name of the road. I think it's 31, US 31. You can check, but I know it's a number. You take it and you go up the hill. Now, this is a national tropical forest, so it's a huge hill. And when you start going up the hill, you go in a road that it's a thin road. It's not wide, so it's thin. And when you go up, you always constantly going through a curve. So you can only go 20 to 25 miles per hour max. You have to be cautious of the other cars that go down. And of course, you have to be very careful because if you have an accident, somebody can fall off the cliff, and it's very dangerous. So you go slow. So we started to go slow. Oh, by the way, Joel was driving. Jonathan was the passenger on his right-hand side. I was behind the passenger, and Fernando was next to me, which is behind the driver. And it was already 5 to 7 minutes driving, going up the hill. Okay, so suddenly, Joel stops.
The abrupt stop panics the four friends. Did he hit something? Was it another car? The fear and adrenaline they feel at the moment is nothing compared to what they feel next when they see why Joel hit the brakes. As they all try to snap out of the disorienting situation, Diego jumps into action.
And I jump to see, that little space that you have between the driver's seat and the passenger seat. So I put my head there and I look forward into the windshield, and I feel Jonathan and Joel completely numb. They were completely just paralyzed. I look in the front. This all happens really fast, guys, like 3 seconds. It really happens fast. But I can explain it because I really remember everything. So I look at the front, and when I look at the front, I perceive and I see a being crossing. He's crossing in front of the car. Well, he was really crossing the road. And I see a huge and tall being. Now, this is not a human being. Why? Because he didn't have clothes. I remember he did not have clothes. He did not have a hat. He didn't have gloves. He doesn't have any kinds of clothes. When I see him, he was crossing, and he was crossing in his like 7.5 feet. He has a huge face, pretty wide face. But when he noticed that we stop and there's some lights hitting him, he of course turned his head and looked at us. Now I did look at him, of course. I look at his eyes, and I perceive that his eyes were black. They were entirely black. He had no white spot. He didn't have lashes. He didn't have eyelashes. He had like a bulgy eyes. He saw that we were kind of paralyzed. He didn't make a sound. He didn't get aggressive. He saw us. We saw him. 3 seconds, I think, passed in all this looking. Us looking to each other was like 3 seconds. So after those 3 seconds, and in those 3 seconds, I get to see his body. Of course, I saw his neck, which was a small neck, very small neck for a big head like his. Now this head is not thick; it's a thin head.
Yes, this happened.
Diego and his friends have an encounter with a terrifying being that seems to be out of this world as they drive up to El Yunque in Puerto Rico. With nervousness still noticeable in his voice, the thin-bearded techie remembers very clearly what this being looked like.
It's a very strange shape of face. But now the body, what I perceived from his skin, that of course it wasn't white, it was kind of like a grayish, brownish skin. Now the lights, of course, are very bright because it's very dark all around. So I saw, of course, white on him because of the light. But when he moves, because after the 3 seconds, he starts moving. I perceived that his skin was brownish grayish. That's when I perceived that. Now, after the 3 seconds, he bent his face back where it was, which was crossing the road. He moves the left leg first, and then the right leg, and then boom, he disappears like into a black hole. Now, I did look at him when he was crossing. Like, I was not like paralyzed. I started following him with my eyes, and I saw when he like disappeared in a black hole. Now, why I know this is a black hole or whatever it is? Because I know that when he crossed that space that we had within the front of the car into the last, I would say, sight of the driver, there's a little space, I would say like 10 feet more or 12 feet of concrete. And that concrete is there just in case an emergency. And then there's a barrel so cars doesn't go off the cliff. But he didn't get it all the way up to there. He just disappeared. Now, how do I know that he disappeared? Because also my friend, the driver, as soon as he disappears, he accelerates trying to make a U-turn. And of course, he's nervous, remember, he's nervous. So he doesn't do the U-turn quietly, perfectly. So it took him time to accelerate, reverse, accelerate, reverse, and then accelerate. When he accelerates, the last acceleration, which is the third one, and all those accelerations, I started looking, where is this being? Because I was intrigued. I was looking for him, and I couldn't find him. And he crossed really, really slow. So for him to disappear in that speed, he had to just disappear, or I don't know what happened. But when we went all the way down, I mean, my friend, the driver, finished doing those reverse and forward, and we did that U-turn, and he started going down. I think he went like 40 to 50 miles per hour, maybe more, and we were all screaming, except Fernando. Fernando was the only one asking what happened. But we were all screaming. Jonathan, Joel, and me, we were screaming like girls, to be honest with you. We were so scared, all the way till the end of El Yunque. And it disappeared. It's a great experience.
The encounter was so quick that Fernando, one of Diego's friends, missed the creature. The friends never spoke of the incident, but after so many years of silence, Diego has decided to share his experience with us. Although the story is quite different with his friends Joel and Jonathan.
My friends never want to talk about it. I do. That's why I'm talking about it right now. But I'm not scared about it. I can talk about it. And it was amazing what we saw. And it was real. And unforgettable.
Diego's experience is a vivid recollection of an amazing and traumatizing event that still haunts him. what he and his friends witnessed is nothing short of spectacular and opens the door to many questions that may never be answered. Did they witness an extraterrestrial being? Was it interdimensional as it seemed to disappear? Was it an unknown species or cryptid? We will never know. Diego's experience will stay with us as proof of what may have been a paranormal event that transcended its dimension to meet us in ours. What do you think? On the next episode of Yes, This Happened. A house with a sordid past the new owners were never told about.
And I remember everything was pitch black because there were no lights on. I had not left any lights on. And I remember looking to my right and seeing this outline of a very large shadow that was darker than the pitch black.
Strange happenings and an evil presence mortify a family.
She didn't understand who was moving the chairs, why they were moving, what all the noise was about. And she was very scared. She was very scared when she told me that, because it was a very constant occurrence in our house.
An entity that reveals itself without explanation.
That thing, that apparition was still there. I could feel it was still there, but I didn't want to see it. So I continued setting the table and praying. All of a sudden, I see this person, apparition, vision of a man that seemed like it was like maybe a monk who had long hair, and he was wearing a long tunic kind of vestment, and he had like a cord around his waist.
On the next episode of Yes, This Happened.